Howdy heroes, and welcome to the latest video from Gamers Heroes. I am Captain Camper and I will be walking you through our War Z tips and tricks video. A number of new players have sent us messages and emails saying they've been struggling with the game on various aspects, so hopefully after watching this you'll be slightly more educated on how to survive this rather harsh post-apocalyptic world. Firstly, we're going to cover the global inventory. This is credit to Warren on the official War Z forums for posting this. Sadly, it seems there's some kind of plague among this community. They won't check sticky threads. So hopefully, if you've not checked it, you can have a look at this. Basically, everyone's had good loot sessions. You grab, 20 or 30 of an item if you're lucky, and you've got to come back and spend 10 minutes clicking and clicking and clicking. You don't have to do that. Quite easily, you just click an item from your inventory, a single stack item, such as a gun, another weapon, anything that's a singular basically, and replace it by the stacked item as you can see here in the video. Another common question that pops up quite frequently is how to kill zombies. It's a very straightforward and simple process. I do expect this to be patched at some point, but for the time being this technique does work. Basically 3 headshots with any melee weapon other than a torch. I do believe the pickaxe is slightly more powerful and the knife has a different attack speed, so it is slightly better than the hammer or the baseball bat. But the hammer and the baseball bat works perfectly fine. As you can see in the video, it's 3 headshots and they're done. They have a stumble animation. Hit them once, they will stumble. If you hit them too quickly again, the second animation won't play. So the idea is to hit them once, watch for the animation to almost finished, hit them again and they'll stumble, and eventually you should be able to chain hit 3 attacks, 3 stumbles, and have 0 issues. The same thing works if you're being attacked by multiple zombies. You just got to walk backwards at the same time. It's very simple. Practice it a few times, you'll get it down, no problem. Another basic problem we've had a lot of messages about is the reloading system within the game. Currently this doesn't work as intended, or at least I hope it doesn't because it's broken. When you reload, it does not fill your ammo with the amount of ammo you need to fill a clip. It simply swaps your current clip for the next one. So as you can see here in the video, if you switch out say a 3 bullet clip for a 5 bullet clip, you will have 5 bullets in your gun and the 3 bullet clip will fall on the floor. This happens with all guns on all reloads, so don't forget, if you do it, by accident or you just did a rush, pick your clip up, all the bullets are still there. It can also help, if you're going into a firefight and you've got 2 bullets in your gun, you've got a clip with 5, switch to the 5. You've always got more chance of surviving if you've got more ammo, so keep that in mind when you're reloading your gun. This is not something we've had any direct requests for, but I am slightly starting to grow tired and feel very sorry for the new players that come in the middle of a very dark and scary world and start running around with their torch. This is a bad idea. Yes, of course, you can see things pretty in front of you all lit up and nice, but everyone else can see far more than you can. I watched the video, I'm quite a distance away from this guy. I probably couldn't hit him with a normal traditional gun, maybe an assault rifle or a sniper obviously, but a pistol or anything like that, no chance, but I can see him for miles. I could quite easily sneak down there using his flashlight as his location and get around there and cause him some grief. So for the love of God, if you spawn in, the flashlight is useless, the melee damage is useless, and it gives you away for miles. I was lucky to stumble upon this guy, but you can see him from way further back than what I'm sitting there. So get in game, do not use your flashlight. If you struggle, turn the brightness up if you have to, otherwise just leave it and enjoy the dark. Do not use your flashlight. Something else a lot of players are complaining about is the spawn system. Now currently, on a new life, you will spawn randomly, assuming you never played that character before. If you've played that character before and died in a specific location, you will spawn at a nearby location. The spawn you are seeing here in the video is Campos. If you die anywhere on the southern side of Campos, usually from the red building downwards, you will spawn in this location. This is a highly contested location. As you've just seen there, I spawned in, I was killed without any chance of reacting whatsoever. The game hadn't even loaded before I died. I've got a good rig, it wasn't a PC, it's just the way the game works. So to avoid doing this, if you like playing on populated servers, the best thing you can do is abuse the game if you like. I mean, personally, if it's to avoid something like that, then go for it. We're all here to have fun. Nobody likes being killed without being able to retaliate in any way, shape or form. So look for what I would consider to be a green server, as I just did there. Anything below 20 I would consider green, 20 to 30 orange, 30 to 40 red. Don't spawn on 30 to 40 servers unless you're not that bothered if you die. Obviously this is a slightly safe way of playing the game. If you're going to spawn in with a load of shit, this is a good way to do it. Basically you find a quiet server where there's much less chance of someone spawn camping. Usually quiet servers, people are running to safe zones after a good haul, or they're camping some of the big loot spots such as the airfield or the main building in Campos City. As you can see here, I spawned in a quiet server. Now my aim here isn't to jump anybody, isn't to sneak up on anyone from behind or ruin anyone's day, it's just to get into the game, safely without getting destroyed by some side ass that's sitting there with a shotgun. As you can see on a quiet server, no worries, walked over there, no issues whatsoever, there's obviously nobody about. Quite happy to do that. I then loaded into a new server, which was in the 30 to 40 range, which I consider red, which is usually where you will find the spawn campers if you'll find them anywhere. And as you can see from this video, it was a pretty good choice. Should be where the loading bar moves. There we go. You'll see now if I zoom in the distance, the guy is sitting there with a shotgun, ready to kill me if I'd have spawned in the spawn location. So it's a great way of doing things. You know, it's not overly that time consuming. It may take you 30, 40 more seconds to log in, but it's well worth it, especially if you're logging in with a bunch of stuff. Another area of the game people don't seem too sure in is the footsteps. Obviously the sounds in this game aren't amazing. The quality is quite good, but the direction and sometimes the amount of footsteps is very unclear. If you listen to this video, you can hear those footsteps in the distance. Now the terrain I'm actually on there doesn't produce any footstep noise. If you can't hear your footsteps when you're walking around, neither can your opponent. Now you can hear footsteps through walls, 2 or 3 floors above people. If you're at the top of the red building, a campus, you can hear them on the first floor. So it is a big advantage if you stop, but if you're running, it's very hard to differentiate between yours and theirs. As you can see here, I'm on the floor with Z, and if you press control, you go extremely slowly. That is the only way you can hide your footstep sounds on normal terrain. Certain terrain, as the concrete just outside here is bugged, doesn't show your footsteps. Some grass areas also don't show your footsteps, but the majority of buildings and inside towns will all give away your location based on your footsteps. So if you're in a new area, just stop for a second, have a listen. If you're not too sure, crawl along with Z and control, and you should be able to conceal your location for the time being. Another thing a lot of players don't use to their advantage is the third person view. Personally, I don't like it. I'd rather it gets removed, but it is there, so use it to your advantage. Everyone else is going to. As you can see here, I'm concealed from that line. That's quite a popular line for people to go from spawn to the building campus. After a short period of sitting there was a guy that appeared the other side in the brick wall. I heard footsteps briefly, weren't sure if they were mine. As you can see, just pop his head out there. He's obviously way better armed than I am. Shotgun versus fists, shotgun will win. Even Bruce Lee would lose. So it's just patience here. I'm kind of thinking, he's not really going to come back here. There's no reason for him to come inside here. He's going to head straight up there, which he did. Obviously, he could have heard my footsteps, but he was running, so that's how you use your third person to your advantage. Use it to look around corners, over fences, upstairs, all that kind of stuff. Now onto one of my personal hates about the game is ghosting. I consider there to be 2 forms of ghosting: random ghosting and planned ghosting. Just things I made up myself. I'm sure there's proper names for it, but that's how I look at it. This is right here. I'm searching the top floor of the building in Campos. It turns out to be quite clear. A guy then spawns behind me after checking all the rooms, so I know he spawned in from a different server, hoping to creep up on people that are camping at the top of the stairs. This is quite a popular place for people to camp, so it's a great way of getting loot, but it is cheap. It's dirty, it's unfair, there's no way players should be able to do it. It's one of the things that kills actually competitive PvP, because it's not competitive if you shoot a guy in the back of the head every time. The other form of doing it is if, say for example, I logged here with one character, I then brought another character up here and hid him in the corner room, and if I was to be killed, I would then switch that character instantly who's armed, come back in and kill the guy and get both my loot and his. Both of them are very cheap. Personally, I don't like to use them. If a guy does it to me, I'm going to do it back to him. But it's up to you on your morals and ethics in gaming, to be honest. I mean, you're not going to get banned for it. There's so many people doing it right now. I've been killed by it at least half a dozen times just today. It happens frequently, so it's up to you whether you want to use it, but this is what to look out for, so make sure you're prepared at all times. Another highly requested tips and tricks topic is looting. There's not really any fair way I can say this, but if you're a decent player and you just go on a server and play on that server till you die, you are going to have a hard time in the game at the moment. It does not work out for players like that, mainly because you compete against players that are hopping between servers. They go to a location such as the airfield or Campos City, somewhere that's got some good military spawn rates, and will sit there on one server, clear it out, hop to another one, and repeat over and over again until they've got a bunch of loot. Go to a dead server with under 10 people on it, go to their safe zone, and then spend the rest of the day making everyone else's lives miserable. The people that spend their time checking every single town on their routes, every single building, you might get lucky, you might find a pistol, you might find a shotgun, but you are not going to find many M16s and sniper rifles doing that. Now personally, I don't condone server hopping. I don't like it. I'm quite ethical in gaming. You play the game how it's supposed to be played. But at the same time, if you want to compete, you're going to have to bend it a little bit. Now, I don't suggest doing it for hours. If you've just started out, I'd probably do it once or twice. Get a couple of guns behind you so you can look after yourself, you can protect yourself. It is a dog-eat-dog world. Players will kill you on sight 95% of the time, even if you've got nothing. They just get some kind of weird kick out of watching you die and waiting an hour to respawn. So, you know, if you don't want to server hop, there's a lot of travelling involved. Highlighted on the map at the minute are several locations which are good. The ones highlighted in red, the three obviously the safe zones. The other highlighted in red are what I would call high loot, high risk. So there's a good chance of strong loot spawning there, but you've also got quite a lot of players there at the same time. Personally, I don't like that approach because 90% of the time I found a good item, I was immediately sniped by a server hopper or ganked by a nutter with a hammer. Neither of which end well for me. They just get all my loot, I end up pissed off, take a break for 20 minutes, come back and repeat. The orange areas are still quite risky, don't have as much loot, but there's still a potential chance of players. But in the green areas are the lower risk, lower end loot. Now lower end loot isn't really the way to do it because you can find pistols and shotguns quite common in those places. But you're not going to find, you know, the clever kind of guns. You're not going to find sniper rifles in a barn in the middle of a farm out in Hickville. So, you know, it all depends on what you want to play, how you want to play the game. You know, if you don't mind dying a couple of times after an extremely long walk, so a lot of the spawns will put you way up north. I personally find the best thing to do, if you want to be totally fair and not include server hopping, run down to the airfield with two different characters. Even if you die, you will spawn again relatively near to the airfield. So that means you can come back on a quiet server, have a search of it, and then just walk off on your own way. If you're into server hopping, you know, you probably don't need to do it because you probably know already, but, you know, just basically weigh out the pros and cons. Use the map to your advantage. I will put a link in the comments to another map made by one of the community members. It's a really good tool for telling you where you can go to get loot, so make sure you check that out. I would just like to point out no zombies were harmed during the making of this film, except maybe this one. Oh, and maybe these guys as well. Thanks for watching. Sorry about the noise and the heavy fat man breathing. I have got a terrible flu right now, so you'll have to excuse me for that. Hopefully you enjoyed the video and found it informative. If you like it, please hit the subscribe button and give us a like. If you don't like it, obviously hit the dislike button, but tell us why. Certain parts of the video you didn't like, you know, if the information was good enough, let us know so we can improve our future videos at the very least. If you just hit the dislike and don't say anything, it makes you a bit of an arse. If you have any questions about the game or anything else, just throw us a comment, we'll get back to you. Visit us on Facebook, facebook.com/gheroes. Check out on the screen videos right now, we have our tutorial for zombies. Goes into a bit more depth than we did in this one into the zombies specifically, how to kill them quickly and how to kill large groups effectively. We've also got a bag trap video on your screen as well, which is a very nifty and funny way of taking out people that are loot greedy. So make sure you check those out. Hopefully we'll have a video here again within a week or so. Thank you, goodbye.